So what's up, everybody? Black Clover 353 fan translations are out. This chapter was wholesome. It was pretty dialogue intense. It felt like it had a lot of content in it because most of Black Clover lately has just been action and just felt like the whole chapter itself has been very quick. But this felt like a chapter that we haven't gotten in a while, that it feels like a lot of content has gone in. And of course I know that Black Clover always has a lot of actions, always a lot of things going on in the panel if you really look into it. But this chapter felt like a slow pace, like it felt like the end of an arc. A lot of you guys have been telling me that Tabata wanted to do a arc in the Land of the Rising Sun, and this is kind of like a mini arc in my opinion. Of course there's the final arc, but I think the final arc is more like a final saga, and there's like little small arcs between, because this felt like the end of an arc. I really enjoyed this chapter. It was cool to see Asta finally celebrate like an adult. Now that he's 18, he can drink sake. It was very reminiscent seeing Asta grow so much as a character, from being that little small scrawny kid in Hodge Village to now being celebrated as a hero in a foreign land. This is crazy. So everything about it I just enjoyed. Let's get into my Black Clover 353 review. First of all, if you like anime, manga reviews, discussion, spoilers, and theories, definitely hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, so you should move some false copyright strikes. So let's get this channel back to 5,000. Comment, like, subscribe. So the start of the chapter is basically where 352 left off, but it's kind of continuing on the side of where the citizens are looking. So the citizens are actually looking at the skies and they're like, wow, the skies are clear. We haven't seen clear skies in forever. You know, because this island technically has been cursed by this portal to the underground because of this five-headed dragon. And Asta came in and literally not only slayed the five-headed dragon with the help of the Ryu 7 obviously, but also opened up the sky so that the people in this island can see the sun again. And I wonder if Ryu's eye was able to see this. Maybe that's Ryu saying, hey look, I help you, but you have to help me too, and you help my people. I wonder if that's why Ryu helped him. Obviously he wanted to help them because, you know, the end of the world will happen if Asta is not in tip-top shape. He's the only like person that can help out. But I wonder if this was like kind of, hey, I scratch your back, you scratch my back type of thing. And yes, we know that Yami's a good friend, but in my opinion I think Ryu most likely saw this and had more motivation to help Asta, not only to save the world, but also like, hey, this guy's going to clear the skies open for this island, and they're gonna look at him as a foreigner but in a positive light, pun intended. So I think that's why Ryu knew what was going on, because especially how one of the Ryu 7 say, wow Ryu, you really are a good judgment of character. I think this is great. I love how Asta, being this kid from a foreign land, is celebrated as a hero. I mean, obviously in the Clover Kingdom, Asta kind of looked as a hero, I'm pretty sure, because he literally saved the world from Lucifero. But now he's also looked as a hero in the Land of the Rising Sun. I like how at the part where Ryu said there's going to be stories hopefully told about him in the future. So it'll be very cool to see Asta being mentioned as this legendary hero from the faraway land, and he helped save not only the world but also the Land of the Rising Sun. And this is the same kid that everybody made fun of for not having magic, couldn't fly in a broomstick. Now look at him. He's doing what those people wish they can do. It shows how far Asta has gone. He's no longer that little kid that couldn't do magic. Now he's a hero in all the sense. The clouds were called Ryuk clouds, most likely coming from the underworld, and that's the reason why Asta's anti-magic or anti-magic Setzen attack was able to cut through the clouds. Like I said before, Ryu thanks Asta. He always wanted his people to see and enjoy clear skies for such a long time. And then you see a panel of the five-headed dragon without his heads. It's crazy. It looks like basically giant hills without a head. Like, I'm surprised the town is not filled with blood, but of course this is like shown in magical manga. That's probably why the town or the village isn't flooded with like dragon blood. This part kind of made me feel kind of weird, how Asta doesn't remember Heath, but he's like, shouldn't Heath be dead by now? And Ryu said with Lucius' power that Sister Lily warned us about, if Lucius and Julius knew what they were doing this whole time, then the power of the Grand Magical Lights that would be resurrected would be at a higher level moving forward. That made me think, because Julius was basically overlooking Asta, what happens if a lot of the people that Asta fought in terms of all his missions, and most likely the other missions of the Golden Dawn, those people that end up dying, all those people that we didn't know that were fodder in a sense, will come back? I don't know how I feel that because the three paladins got defeated and they felt like they were fodder. I don't know how I feel if other magical knights that the Golden Dawn and other other squads faced come back, to me it'll be looking kind of weird. I think they need to bring back somebody at a high level, that most likely was like old Wizard King, a high elf, or a high dwarf from the legends. We're probably gonna get somebody legendary being reborn soon. Just with this line alone, Lucius and Julius most likely chose the Clover Kingdom for a reason. Maybe there's a lot of historical legendary wizards from, you know, the Clover Kingdom that we're going to see be used as paladins. That's what I think is gonna happen, and it'll be very cool if one of the peoples was Asta's father. I know for a fact a lot of you guys have been telling me that Asta's father is most likely not gonna have any relevance in the story because Tabata is coming from a single mother household. So I wouldn't be surprised if Asta's father has no relevance, but we'll see. At least I could see Lasita getting reborn. That's something I definitely see happening. But what happened to Heath? Like, is Heath's body just gonna be there? What is Lucius's next plan after this? There's so many questions going forward about this. That's what I really want to know. Another part too, like I said before in another video, that Ryu says that Asta's friends are looking for a way to get Asta. So they know deep down that Asta's not dead. They had that feeling. That's something that was kind of established, but at the whole like festival of them eating, you can already tell that little doll that is like old Charmy doll that looks so much like Charmy, and she's apparently the god of food in the Land of the Rising Sun. You know that's gonna be a write-up for a joke once Charmy actually makes it to the Land of the Rising Sun. It's a given. The thing looks exactly like Charmy. It has food. Charmy loves food. Her second magic is food magic. So at this point, it's a given that Charmy is gonna come be treated as god. I think the dwarves have something very divine and mystical about them. Who knows how the dwarven society is, but something about them seems a little bit divine in a sense. So why was Charmy so close to Julius? Like, was that some type of foreshadowing? Knowing Tabata probably is. We'll see. Asta saying he puts faith in his friends. Ryu is like, all they could do is basically recover and prepare. This is where the feast happens, and it's so funny seeing Asta getting drunk. Fumito, or Humito, however you want to pronounce his name, basically wants to do a steak out of the dragon's meat, which is weird, but it is what it is. It looks like people keep saying Banza. I'm not entirely sure if they're calling Asta Banza. The whole Fumito saying that he's so itching to try the meat. Like, how are you gonna make a steak out of dragon meat? It doesn't sound like it's gonna taste really good. At least with that dragon meat, they're gonna have food for a long time because that thing is huge. Also, seeing Sister Lily without her like nun hat or whatever you call that, I forgot that she had like blackish hair. I forgot the color of her hair. Some nuns actually don't have hair, believe it or not. From what I learned, nuns actually shave their heads. Ryu was just basically talking about what Asta completed. He slayed the five-headed dragon, he cleared the skies. Ryu hopes, just like them, they'll pass down tales about him too. He wants the whole entire village favorable towards not only Asta, but maybe anybody affiliated with Asta. I hope that's the case. I know Charmy is not gonna get discriminated, she's gonna get treated as a god, but the other Black Bulls, I hope they get treated good. Ichigo basically asking Ryu if it was her that slaughtered her whole entire family, and Ryu not saying anything, he just continues drinking, tells me that he made a pact with Yami to never say what exactly happened that night, and I really respect the friendship Ryu and Yami have, so I think that's really cool. Seeing drunken Asta is hilarious. You know, Ichigo's trying to apologize to Asta, and Asta's just like, yeah, it's all good. I know it's some misunderstanding, and him having like that drunk face. You know, it's cool to see him celebrating because before he wasn't celebrating like this. Like, he will celebrate by eating food, probably relaxing, but after he defeated Lucifero, he wasn't drinking. At least we didn't know if he was drinking. But knowing how shonen authors and shonen manga main characters always have high moral, most likely he wasn't drinking. And then seeing all the Ryu 7s tipsy, it's all funny. This part I told you how this Charmy doll basically looks exactly like Charmy. And there's even like a little picture of her in the background that looks exactly like Charmy. I wonder, did Charmy somehow get thrown into the past and ended up in the Land of Rising Sun? And it's funny how Yami was close to Charmy and he found her in some forest, but he never mentioned her as like the food god. That's something interesting to me right there. And then you see like the Ryu 7 without the Oni mask, and he looks completely different. He has a lot of scars, but he is very sad. This part right here, Yosoga talking about like a strong lady. He was saying that, do you know anybody that knows how to use flame jutsu, which flame magic? We all know that one crazy fire mage that is basically like a lioness. I think Yosoga and her might end up getting together. That's just my opinion. Seeing Asta getting so drunk that he's sick, and then he goes to the bathhouse, seeing Ichiga, thinking that Ichiga is going to kill him because he saw her body like that in the bathhouse, and he sobered up quickly. That was funny. Asta sobered up, ran away, and after seeing Ichiga's like basically naked body. The morning afterwards, Asta apologizes to Ichiga, and she's like, I'm gonna make sure that you regret it. They're gonna start training. Ryu says, Asta, you're not the type of person to whittle your thumbs. You're gonna be training, right? So that's the end of the chapter. Asta just says, of course, I'm gonna start training with yo. I can't wait to see how strong Asta gets, training with all the Ryu 7 all together. He's gonna be a beast in the next couple of days. I think now is a great time to move the main focus to another scenery. So I think the next couple of chapters, we're gonna see what's going on with the Black Bulls and the captains during the time they thought Asta actually died. I think that's what's gonna happen next chapter. Unfortunately, we have a break, but it is what it is. I mean, this chapter was great regardless. Honestly, this chapter felt like 2 chapters in one. It felt like we had a lot of dialogue, a lot of context. It wasn't just like a quick action chapter like the last couple of chapters have been. So that's all I have to say. Let me know what you think about Black Clover 353. Did you like this chapter? How do you feel about Heath just being on the floor and just forgotten about? What do you think Lucius is going to do once Lucius figures out that the connection between the Paladins has basically been broken? Do you think that Lucius might end up going to Land of Rising Sun? Do you think that the next chapter is going to focus on a different set of characters in a different place? How do you feel about Drunk Asta? Alright, like if you liked the video, comment, subscribe, and I'm out of here.